Hey guys, so today we're doing papers, and as I've said previously, I did this method like 3 years ago, and I feel like this is one of the categories that, even though it looks like there's quite a bit of stuff here, especially when you consider what Marie Kondo actually says you should keep and what not, but there's quite a few things here. However, I feel like this is one of my better categories. I feel like I took away a lot from doing this the first time, and by taking the chance and kind of getting rid of a lot of the things she said to get rid of, I feel as though it paid off. And I haven't really, not necessarily relapsed, but I haven't, I just haven't missed anything. So honestly, although I have quite a bit of stuff here, a lot of it is just like duplicates or outdated information. That's the word I'm looking for. So like I have the insurance policy from 3 years ago, 2 years ago, the current one, you know what I mean? So I really just, most of what I need to declutter now is just duplicated, outdated information. And then I've also just over time started throwing stuff together. So there's actually a lot of sentimental papers in here. I want to deal with those later all at one time. So I'm going to start sorting those out, and I just want to put them in a box. And when I get to that category, I will deal with that later because yeah, I don't want to start that now. Plus it's hard for me to gather all of that stuff because it's literally just shoved in random places all throughout the house. So that is one thing I'm kind of working on doing during this second round of Kon Mari Method decluttering, is putting everything back together, and hopefully they can stay more together as I gain more space. So today, sorting through, getting out outdated stuff, things I don't need, and yeah. So I'll check in on the progress in a bit. Okay, so I went through and did sort of an initial sort just to kind of get things grouped together. These things here are things that kind of just came out of the filing cabinet that need to be, I still need to go through and get outdated stuff out of. That big binder is our user manual, still need to go through it. More, all the way in the back is more filing stuff. Over here, the stack of papers here is trash. The green folder and that stuff is extra filing things that I've cleaned out. Folders and such that had stuff but no longer have stuff. And then all the way in the back, very last stack, are things that need filed. And then over here, let's see, the 3 black bins, if you can kind of see, they're kind of dark back there, and then the stack of cards beside it are things that need to be tackled during the sentimental thing. So that's kind of how I'm working right now. I'm getting ready to tackle the big stack in the back of things that need to be filed, and as I'm doing that, I'm going to simultaneously clean out the folders and get all the outdated information out. Things I'm keeping are types of things that I decided to keep. Obviously, I really feel for a lot of people and for myself. When I first did the Kon Mari Method, she was like, throw it all away. You know, it was kind of shocking. And I was a little hesitant to do it, and I didn't necessarily listen to her 100%. I still kind of use my own thing, but I do agree with her. Financial documents, keep those. Taxes, you got to keep those. You got to keep your insurance policies. We do keep owner's manuals. She recommends kind of getting rid of those. We actually reference ours from time to time. I feel like we kind of use ours a lot, so the thing I try to do with those is just go through it occasionally, or when I'm adding stuff in, and get rid of things that we don't use anymore, don't own anymore. So yeah, and that's really all that I keep. Oh, medical information. yeah, related to ongoing conditions, any sort of medical information related to that. And then I also keep like a temporary file. I try to keep my temporary file kind of small so that I'm forced to kind of go through it every 3 or 4 months as it fills back up. And I even keep things like coupons and different things in there as well. So, you know, the file gets filled very quickly and then I have to go through it. I actually had just done it like a week ago. I went through my temporary file and kind of got rid of some stuff. Okay, so, wow. That, I feel like I repeat myself. I'm always amazed at how long this stuff actually takes. So at an hour in, I checked in with you guys and I was like, oh yeah, it's going well. Okay, well now it's like 3 hours later. I think I started at 1:30. It's almost 5, so like 3.5 hours later. I'm done, kind of. I still have one more thing left to do, but I'm not going to get to it today. And that is go through that pile of papers and shred and throw away. Whew. I felt really good. Something about that process today was incredibly therapeutic. I don't know. Like things weren't coming. It was just weird. It wasn't one of those like a lot. Sometimes when you're purging and decluttering, things are like coming up and you're like, you know, really thinking about things and it's emotional and you're having a hard time. But for something about this particular one, I felt like this really weird sense of calm. Anyways, it was interesting. If you guys have any thoughts on why filing brought me such peace today, because it's not something I actually enjoy. I was very uncomfortable. My back was hurting. Yeah. So it wasn't because I was enjoying what I was doing. Anyways, so things I wanted to say. First of all, I know that the Kon Mari Method, I even talked about this in the last video I filmed. She doesn't recommend you do organizing at the time of the purge. However, I think that had I organized these last time I purged and actually created my filing system at that time, I think that I wouldn't have the mess that I have here, even though this mess right here, it really isn't that bad. I remember the first time that I did the method, and I literally had at least one, maybe 1.5 to 2 trash bags full of stuff. Obviously I shredded important documents and things, but just, you know, eyeballing it laying on the floor, it was like 1.5 to 2 trash bags worth of papers. So I failed though. Last time I just kind of threw everything back in folders, but I didn't actually take time to create labels and blah, 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 blah. So when like policies would renew, I wouldn't really know where the old policy was, because it would have been very productive of me to just pull out, you know, car insurance, pull it out, take the old one out and put the new one in. But since I didn't know where they necessarily were in the drawer, I couldn't do that. So that's what a lot of that is right there, is like policy renewals. There's some other random odds and ends. You always end up with odds and ends. It's just life. But, yeah, so that is what is done. The green folder is now empty. I don't know that I will reuse it for anything. I am putting all of my organizational tools that I empty out. I put them in a corner in my attic. And they can stay there for a while until my next yard sale. And then at that point, if they're still unused, they get put in the yard sale. So that is what I do with those types of things. Yeah. And that's really, I mean, that's really all. This is kind of a boring category. I know it's a boring category. Filming it, I'm like, I don't really want to film it, but you know, it's okay. I think the boring categories are sometimes the ones that needs the most attention and people need the most motivation for. Going through your clothing is fun. Going through your financial documents, not so much fun. So anyways, I really highly encourage anybody to do this, because honestly, if this is what I have after 3 years of pretty much neglect of keeping up with the system for the most part, certain aspects of it, I should say. But yeah, this part really, really, really worked for me. So I'm going to give the kudos and the big thumbs up to this part of the Kon Mari method, and I'm going to really encourage you to make an effort to get rid of a lot more of a lot more of these types of papers than, I don't want to say than you may be comfortable with, but push yourself a little bit more. And if you know, like for example, credit card statements, if you regret having gotten rid of those, you can immediately go online and reprint every single one of them. So if there's something that you know that you can retrieve, just try it. Or just try it for one credit card. If you have 3 or 4 credit cards, try getting rid of all of the statements for one credit card. And then next time, I know that's not necessarily Kon Mari method, but some of us, I know the feeling, sometimes you just got to ease into stuff and get your feet wet, and that's okay. That's okay too. Progress is always progress, and even though her method is great, if you're unable to do it full on, you're just going to have to do it again later, and that's okay, because progress is still progress. Anyway, so yabby, 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 yabby. I am definitely making lots of noise. I'll give you a little, I did empty out the basket so that the cat would have a place to sleep again. Yeah, so anyways, me and the little snuggle bunny there say thank you, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.